whether it's next year, 10 years, 20 years from now, you'll never be able to say that these brothers lied to you, Jack.
Guys, I would like to introduce you to a concept that I have called the life cycle of cool. Now, for something to be cool, it starts off as counterculture. And that's exactly what South Park used to be. When it first came out, everyone would get all up in a bunch about different episodes and messaging in their episodes and, thumbing your nose up at the authority. That's cool. That's counterculture, man. When the authorities are sitting there telling you to do something, you say, no authority, I'm going to do something different. That, guys, that's counterculture. Now, what happens is that the authorities see that, and if you're so big as South Park was and you can't knock it off, well, you become the culture. The authorities say, you know what, South Park is the culture. And that's exactly what happened. For a few years there, South Park were the tastemakers. South Park either validified or not sensified whatever it is that they were lampooning. And so, they became the culture. They became the barometer to which things were deemed either cool or uncool. And now we've reached the death of South Park as a counterculture phenomenon. That's done. And it's been done for way longer than you may think. That death happened. I believe one of the initial times they spoke about they did an episode surrounding the Epstein stuff where they're like, oh yeah, we're in on it too now. They did the entire pandemic. Counterculture South Park would have completely lampooned the pandemic, and nowadays, when they released that coronavirus special, like, oh well, let's just all forgive each other due to the things that we all did in in our panic. Their entire thing was bowing down and kowtowing to the authorities and kowtowing to the establishment. And so here we are, even further removed from the pandemic and and they have their whole Trump is Saddam Hussein deal going on. They've completely reworked the show, and personally, I don't care. Like, you want to make fun of Trump, make fun of Trump, but I would prefer for it to be funny. And it's really frustrating that they decided to just use the old Saddam Hussein bit with the devil and the like. Here's the deal. They were just paid $1.7 billion for that show. Why do you think they paid Paramount was willing to pay them $1.7 billion to continue pushing that show? It's for the influence. It's kind of like a makeup check, because they ain't paying $1.7 billion for Crazy Cripple, one of my favorite episodes, or Woodland Critter Christmas, or any of the true classic South Park episodes that we used to have. That day is done, guys. South Park's out. Trey and Matt, I'm happy for them. They deserve every single dollar they get. But this concept, this idea that they're still cool and that they are still counterculture is long dead. So for anybody who's genuinely upset that they could take because their big thing back in the day was not taking a side, actually looking at both sides and saying how both sides are really stupid, which will tend to leave you more on the cool / counterculture side of things than just hardlining one side. And yes, Trump is a very vain and petty individual, but unfortunately the powers that be didn't give us anything worth voting against him. They tried to kill this man on several occasions, and here we are all dealing with the backlash of, I don't want to call it the failed attempts, because ultimately, had 2020 not happened and you just let him serve out his second term, we would have been done with all this by now. But here we are, and instead of being even keeled with their delivery of the humor and who they want to make fun of, Trey and Matt have decided that they're locked in. And for those who are like, oh well, there was always some conservatism to them, guys. Trey and Matt went to the Grammys in dresses, tripping on shrooms. I mean, these guys have been leftist progressives, like have been on the left, have been left leaning. All right. Initially, it was confused. We used to say how they try to ride the middle and stay in between all of these different stay on, just stay as neutral as they can, but in reality it's not that they were also neutral. It's just that our paradigm at the time, particularly when it came out, was far better defined. The right was Christian conservatism and evangelicals, and the left was progressive hippy dippy bullshit. And here we are, in the almost a quarter of a way through Trump's first year back in office, and the paradigms have completely changed. There are no conservatives anymore. Like, everyone's sitting here thinking, oh yeah, I mean, if just because it's a Republican, it's a conservative. Not even close, guys. These Republicans are just as loose and progressive as the Democrats were like 3 years ago. Ultimately, that's what, particularly when it comes to American politics, that's what Republicans are. They're just Democrats, but 5 years late, because eventually they've been chipping away at the conservatism. They've been chipping away at the God-fearing, at Christianity, at the various faiths that we have here in the nation. And so, it seems as if this drag queen story hour in the pulpit, I mean, that's conservatism in a lot of people's eyes, and nope, not even close. So I just wanted to add my 2 cents to this, because it's one of those things that I haven't seen anyone say, that South Park is no longer counterculture, guys. They are the establishment. And the sooner that you can kind of come to grips with that, the better off we'll all be. But you may disagree. That's what my comment section's for. Until the next one.